Hey gang! Using the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, will get you 10% off any order over $10 at Flipside Gaming. It'll also get you 10% off any orders of singles at Multizone. And it'll get you 10% off most products at Original Magic Art, with the exceptions of some paintings. If these fine sites don't have what you're looking for, you can also consider using my affiliate link when ordering from TCG Player. And if you'd like to join the Generic Goblin Gang to support this channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. You'll also be excited to hear that Flipside Gaming is doing a giveaway for Double Masters. If you place an order of $10 or more between July 6th and August 7th, you'll be entered for your chance to win the box. Alternatively, you can send a stamped, self-addressed envelope or postcard to Flipside Gaming to be entered to win as well. It's one entry per person, so good luck and have fun. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game is another multi-zone matchup, with Jameson playing his Riku deck. He keeps Aminatu's Augury, Coalition Relic, Kadama's Reach, Cavern of Souls, Breeding Pool, Hinterland Harbor, and an island. Max is back with his Ikra and Bruse Tarl deck, keeping Vampiric Tutor, Sylvan Library, Ranger's Path, Wayfarer's Bauble, Elesh Norn, Swamp, and Bant Panorama. Joey is playing Najeela, keeping Thrilling Encore, Samut, Oketra's Monument, Jungle Shrine, Mountain, Nomad Outpost, and a Plains. Last but not least, Seb is playing Emmara, keeping a Fortified Village, Hedron Archive, Worldly Tutor, Craterhoof Behemoth, Forest, Seedborn Muse, and a Plains. Joey wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays a tap Jungle Shrine and passes to Seb. Seb plays a Fortified Village, revealing a basic from his hand. Jameson plays a tap Breeding Pool and passes. Max plays a Bant Panorama and casts his Wayfarer's Bauble. At the end of turn, Seb casts Worldly Tutor to find a creature. Joey plays a Plains and Seb reveals a Birds of Paradise. Joey rethinks his land drop, and the table is fine with it as he swaps a Plains for a Nomad Outpost. Seb draws his birds and plays a Plains. He casts Emmara and passes. Jameson plays an untapped Hinterland Harbor, passing. Max plays a Plains and sacrifices his Bauble to find a basic. He passes while searching. Joey plays a Mountain and casts Cultivate. He goes to his library for a basic for the field and one for his hand, passing. Seb plays a Forest and casts Birds of Paradise. He swings Emmara at Max, making a Soldier token as she's tapped, and then connects for 2. Jameson plays a Cavern of Soul, naming Wizards. He pays 3 mana for his Kadama's Reach, and passes while he goes to find his basics. Max plays a Forest and casts Ranger's Path, also passing while searching. Joey plays a Command Tower, and 3 mana gets him a Darksteel Ingot. He's then able to still cast a Najeela with his remaining mana, and does so before passing. Seb taps 4 mana to make a Hedron Archive, and then taps the Archive and Birds for Sylvan Library. He lets the 1 floating mana go, and swings Emmara at Jameson, and the Soldier token at Max. He makes a Soldier token from tapping Emmara, and Jameson takes 2, while Max takes 1, and Seb gains 1. Jameson plays a Mountain, and casts Coalition Relic before passing. Max plays a Plains, and has enough mana at this point for Elesh Norn. As she enters, it shuts down the board pretty hard right now, taking out both Seb and Joey's creatures, and he passes turn. Joey draws and plays a Swamp. He then pays 7 mana for a Butcher of Malakir, and passes turn. Seb uses his library but doesn't keep any extras. He casts Sensei's Top, and passes. At the end of turn, Jameson puts a charge counter onto his relic. Jameson plays a Forest and gets a mana in his main phase with a Coalition Relic trigger. He then taps enough for Aminatu's Augury, exiling his top 8. He casts a Hypersonic Dragon, and then bonus round, and finishes with a Growth Spiral, getting a copy of the Spiral from having cast bonus round before it. He draws 2, and puts out a tapped Stomping Ground and an untapped Island, passing. Max plays a tapped Mountain Valley, and brings out Bruse Tarl. With the buff boy entering, he gives Elesh Norn double strike and lifelink, and swings her at Joey. Joey doesn't block, taking the 4 damage twice, and Max gains 8. Max then casts his copy of Sylvan Library, passing. Joey plays a Plains and casts a Ketra's Monument. He's finished with his turn, passing to Seb. Seb uses his library, keeping 1 extra and taking 4. He plays a Forest for his turn and casts Cryptolith Rites, and then a Seedborn Muse, who thankfully doesn't die to Elish Norn, and he passes to Jameson. Seb untaps with Jameson, and Jameson plays a Forest. Seb then activates his top, looking at his top 3, while Jameson passes turn. Max uses his library, but doesn't keep any extras. He plays a land, and drops Ilharg in his main phase. Moving to combat, Elish Norn heads at Jameson, who just takes the hit for 4. In his post-combat main phase, Max then casts his copy of Kadama's Reach, and passes while searching. Joey plays a tap Sandstep Citadel, and he thinks about what to do. While he's doing so, Jameson decides to cast Farseek at instant speed thanks to the Hypersonic Dragon. Joey then casts Miri, and makes a Soldier token, which will both die from Elish Norn's static ability, but this has the upside of triggering his Butcher of Malakir. This has his opponent sacrificing 2 creatures, with Max losing everything but Elish Norn. Jameson responds to this by casting Pier's Whim, and copies it with a Fury Storm. He picks himself as friend twice, and his opponents as foes twice. This has Jameson go and find 2 lands, while his opponents have to sacrifice 2 enchantments or artifacts. Seb activates his top in response, looking at his top 3, and bins his top and archive. Joey then pays enough to cast a Thrilling Encore, which brings back all the creatures that died this turn to his side of the field. Miri once more has to die, but it's for the greater good, as it forces Max to sacrifice his Elish Norn. Moving to combat, Joey then hits Max with the Butcher and Dragon for 9. Seb uses his library trigger on his turn, keeping all 3 cards and taking 8. He plays a tap Temple Garden, and then casts Mirari's Wake. Jameson untaps his many lands and casts a 1000-Year Storm. He then puts out God Eternal Kefnet, and casts his commander, Riku. He's tapped out at this point, and passes. Max untaps, and uses 1 black on his upkeep for Vampiric Tutor. He loses 2 life, and goes to tutor for a card to put on top, which he'll draw for turn. We see this card in his main phase as he taps enough for an Akroma's Vengeance, which deals with almost all of the problems facing Max currently. He then sacrifices his Mountain Valley to find a land, and passes. Joey plays out a Decorated Champion in his main phase, and still has enough for Samut. The champion gets a +1/+1 counter as Samut enters, and he goes at Max with both creatures before passing turn. Seb pays 4 mana for Emmara in his main phase, and passes. Jameson counts up his mana, and plays out Mizzix. He then casts Telemann Performance, and gets an experience counter for Mizzix. He targets Max with the spell, who has to reveal until he hits a creature card. It's Burnished Heart, which is a card I love, but is just not that great at this exact moment, and Jameson then passes. Max plays a Swamp, and casts Ikra Shaddiq, and then passes turn. Joey draws for turn, and plays an Exotic Orchard. 5 mana that gets him his commander back, and with Najeela entering, the champion gets another +1/+1 counter. Joey then goes to combat, swinging Samut and the champion at Max. This triggers Najeela for each of them attacking because they're warriors, and he makes 2 1/1 warrior tokens tapped and attacking Max as well. With the tokens coming in, the champion gains 2 more +1/+1 counters. Max blocks the champion, and then takes the hit from the warriors and Samut. Joey then plays out a Felwar Stone in his post-combat main phase, and passes turn. Seb taps out in his main phase for a Green Sun Zenith. He goes to his library to find a creature, and puts out Tristani Discordant. She enters, and Seb makes some soldier tokens. Moving to combat, Emmara goes to Jameson, who blocks with the Burnished Heart. Before damage, he sacrifices it to go and find 2 basics, giving the creature back to Max. Seb gets to make another soldier token as he tapped Emmara for attacking, and he passes turn. Jameson recasts Riku in his main phase, and passes to Max. Max plays a Sunpetal Grove, and recasts Bruse Tarl. He gives Ikra Double Strike and Lifelink, and goes to combat. He goes at Jameson, hitting him twice for 3, gaining 6 life from Lifelink, and then 14 from the 2 Ikra triggers. He passes to Joey. Joey plays a Mountain for turn, and goes to combat. He swings his team at Max, which gains him another 5 warrior tokens with Najeela. With him entering, his champion gains another 5 +1/+1 counters. Before moving to blocks, Joey then pays 1 of each color to give his creatures trample, lifelink, haste, and untap them all, giving himself another combat step after this one. Max blocks with Bruse in front of the champion, and unfortunately Max forgets about the trample, taking 7 from the warriors, 7 from the spillover from the champion, 6 from Samet, and 3 from Najeela. Joey then gains a ton of life from the lifelink as well. Moving to his second combat step, Joey then swings everything at Seb. This gives him 9 more tokens, and his champion gains 9 more +1/+1 counters. Seb blocks some of the tokens, gaining a bit of life, but still drops down to 3. Before leaving this combat step, Joey then pays to activate Najeela once more. This time he swings Samet at Max, the champion at Jameson, and the tokens at Seb. He gains 14 new tokens, dividing up some of the new tokens to finish everyone off in one swing and win Joey the game. Game review time. So I don't know what to say about this one other than even without being an infinite combo, Najeela is very strong. The fact that she still makes warriors even when she doesn't attack is fantastic, and I think Joey did a great job of showcasing just how strong she can be. There was also a ton of early game ramp, both from Max and Jameson, but unfortunately for Jameson, he didn't really draw into too many spells, and even his Aminatu's Augury really didn't get him that much. Max, on the other hand, had some very impactful spells with things like Elish Norn, which for the most part shut down Seb and Joey until late game. The Elish Norn was the right play at that time because let's face it, I've played against Seb's deck in the past, and it gets out of hand very quickly with Emmara. He ends up making a ton of soldier tokens and then uses Anthem effects or things like the Right to be able to make tons of mana or make them enormous and just overwhelm the board. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGMudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/MTGMudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.